I want to go ahead and give a trigger warning here at the beginning of this video. I'm going to be talking about a couple of topics that some people might be sensitive to, particularly animal death and animal butchering. So if those are topics that you're uncomfortable with or you don't want to hear about, I highly recommend clicking away from this video now. Hey guys, it's Suiciber. Welcome back to my channel. I've missed you all. Today I wanted to show you guys my oddity collection. And I've picked up a couple of things here and there. Mostly I either get it for free or I buy it on sale. Right now I don't have a super large collection because all of my spare money is going to the farm because we are currently expanding, which is fun, but not for my wallet. So because I'm broke right now, this is not like a gigantic tour slash haul. It's a few items, but I thought it would be cool to share with you guys anyway, so y'all can kind of get an idea of like what I like to collect and stuff. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, starting off strong, I wanted to show you guys this deer skull I have. I love this thing. It is super, super cool. I actually learned how to like clean and cure bones when I ended up getting some deer bones from the side of the road, because where I live, it is the country, and unfortunately, especially during the winter time, a lot of deer are crossing the roads late at night or early in the morning looking for food, and then they end up getting hit by a car, especially like on the road that I live on, because people go way too fast through here. So because of that, I have quite a few deer bones. It's really funny because my neighbors know when I'm walking down the street with my 5-gallon bucket that I bought at Lowe's. They go, oh god, she's going hunting for bones again. But yeah, so I got this skull off a deer. Unfortunately, that was roadkill. It was a doe. As you can see, there's no horns, but it looks really cool. It's got like all the teeth on this top part still. I have the jaw, but it's separate because of course it didn't stay together naturally, so I cleaned the jaw separate. I think I have one piece of the jaw right here actually. This is one piece of the jaw, and it's also got the teeth attached and everything. I don't know what happened to the other piece. I'm sure it's around here somewhere, but I only have one piece of the jaw. There was also a second deer that ended up getting hit a few months later, and I ended up not being able to get to it for several weeks because I was extremely busy with work. But the field that it ended up passing in was a field that somebody owns and comes in like farms like during the growing season. They don't live on this field, so no one disturbed it. So I ended up getting quite a bit of, sorry if you can hear my cats in the background, by the way, they are fighting for some reason. But so I ended up getting a lot of ribs. If you can see these, I think I took like almost every rib, and I cleaned these as well. I really want to get into something called osteomancy, which is using bones to like divine questions and like predict the future and things like that. I think it would be really cool. But of course, my whole philosophy about collecting bones like this is, you know, I feel really bad that the animal, you know, had something tragic happen to them and they had to pass, but their body was just going to sit on the side of the road anyway. I tried to give them like a respectful type of thing. You know, I go up to them and I tell them I'm sorry that they passed, and I try to be really respectful when I take from them, because they're, you know, they were a living being, and it's not fair that they had to die because somebody couldn't watch the road. But yeah, that's, so I have these. I also ended up collecting the jaw from that deer as well. The skull wasn't salvageable because of the way that the animal was hit, but I ended up taking the deer jaw and I made it into a necklace, if you can believe it or not. I'll show you guys here now. Hi. I made this necklace for the Renaissance Fair. Actually, you'll see I put some chains in, and then I bound it here at the bottom and at the top, and then there's like a chain for the necklace. I'll show you the back. It's very like DIY, but all I did was pay like $10 for some chains and was able to make this. I also took like a little grindy thingy and I I ground some runes into the sides of it here and here, and then I took some oh lord, like ashes from some incense I burned, and I rubbed them into the print, which they faded now because it's been a while since I put them put more ashes in there. But I had runes carved into it because, you know, I'm a Norse pagan, and also I went as a Viking woman for the Renaissance Fair. Yeah, I dressed up and it was so much fun and I loved it, and I made my husband dress up with me. So now I'll show you guys something that's not bone related for a minute. We'll take a break from bones. This is a wet specimen of a jellyfish. I don't know if you can see the jellyfish in here. It's very, very cool. I got this off Etsy. It was on sale. I want to say I spent like $15 on it, but it's like a really, really cool little jellyfish. And I have this actually sitting on a shelf in my living room because I have this big blank wall that I've been slowly filling in with really cool like pictures and mirrors and shelving and stuff to try to make like a, I don't know, like a cool designed wall, you know, that I see like on Pinterest and stuff. So this is one of the things that's sitting on my shelf that I really, really like. And I've had this thing for well over a year at this point, maybe even 2, and it really hasn't degraded at all, and it hasn't lost any of its volume in here at all, which has been really, really nice, because I'm still kind of nervous about opening any wet specimens and like refilling them. I know you can like Google it, but still I'm worried I'll mess it up and then ruin the wet specimen. But yeah, so that's my jellyfish. Now this next thing I'm going to show you, it's not going to fit on the screen, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that now. But I'm going to give you the backstory to it before I show it to you, okay? So I live on a farm, as I mentioned in like every video, because I'm very proud of this place. But I live on a farm, and my neighbors next to me also have a farm, and my neighbors next to me raise Kiko goats. They raise them as pets, and in the past they did raise them as meat, but they kind of got out of that as they got a little bit older. So they had probably 30 or 40 goats in their herd at one point, before they ended up having to sell quite a bit of them after the hurricane that came through here and destroyed everything. But this, like a few months ago, they ended up, it's probably actually been like a year ago, they ended up having a goat that unfortunately at birth suffered some complications, and he was lame in one of his legs, one of his back legs, and they raised him and like tried the best they could with him. But as he got bigger and bigger, that lameness in his back leg became worse and worse, and he was really starting to struggle to get around. So they made the decision that, you know, he was suffering and he seemed to be in a lot of pain, so they decided to cull him. And so when that decision was made, they contacted my husband and I because, you know, we have a homestead and we process a lot of our own meat here. And they asked if we would process this goat, if we could do that for them, and then if we did, we would split the meat half and half. And of course we said yes. We had never processed a goat at that time, but we wanted to learn because we have goats of our own, which our goats aren't for meat, our goats are dairy goats. But, you know, should something ever arise where we switch to meat goats, we would, you know, kind of know what to do. So we ended up butchering this goat for them, and after we had finished, you know, dividing the meat amongst them and us, we were left with the hide of the goat. And the hide was this goat was so soft. He was beautiful. He had such soft fur, and I really wanted to try my hand at tanning a hide, which I had never done before. So I Googled it on YouTube and found a video, and so I tanned this hide. It took like 3 weeks, I think 3 or 4 weeks for me to fully get it dried out and like processed chemically and all that. So I ended up cutting it out and making I don't know if you can see this, but a goat hide circle, I want to say it's more like a rug. I made this for my dogs to have like somewhere to like lay on, because they have dog beds, but also it's so soft on this side, and it's actually pretty thick. So it's like an extra layer for them to like lay on. I know, God, that sounds so hick. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm from the South, but I made this, and I'm very proud of it, and it's been sitting, and it hasn't lost any of its softness or fur or anything like that. And I feel like this is something kind of unique. I don't feel like a lot of goth people process their own animals, like the way me and my husband do. But you know, people can be multifaceted. People can have multiple hobbies. But like I tanned it on this side, and so like it looks really good. The whole like tanning process, but it was the first time I had ever tried anything like this, so I was kind of 100% expecting it to not work, but it did, so I was very proud of it. But now, speaking of goats, this is gonna be sad, okay? Because this was my goat, but I had a goat. His name was Chocolate Chip, and he unfortunately passed away. And when he passed away, he had hidden himself away. So when I found him like a day and a half later, the body was not pristine. So we ended up burying him. And when we were moving him, his jaw was very loose in there. So I have one of his jaw bones that I cleaned. This was actually, I think, one of the first jaw bones I ever cleaned. And so yeah, this is, you see how much smaller it is than the deer. Hold on. So this is a deer jaw, and then this is his. So it's definitely smaller, but yeah, this was Chocolate Chip. He's got a little grave out back, but his little jawbone did come off, so I kept it with me and I cleaned it, and it sits on my altar as like a memento to him, and I think about him all the time when I see it. So. Now, to not end on a sad note here, because that was intense, you guys. That was intense. I miss him very much. But to not end on a sad note, I'm going to show you guys my final oddity curio thing. And it is another taxidermy piece. It's a scorpion! Woo! I feel like this is a very popular, like, frame and, like, photo that people see on Facebook and stuff, because this Etsy artist I bought it from, I think like AI takes their photo and posts it everywhere to try to get people to spend money. So if you've seen this before, that's probably why. But I got this on Etsy. I want to say it was $25, maybe more. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I got this, and it is a scorpion. It's really, really cool. He's like pinned in, and he's got the background, and I got to choose the background color, and I chose this one because it matches the walls in our living room. So he sits out here on my living room along with the jellyfish, and they hang out on the shelves. But this is really, really cool. I saw like how wicked, you know, the scorpion looks, and I was like, I gotta get that, definitely. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed my little oddities tour. I'm sorry it's mostly bones, but again, they were free, and again, unfortunately, you know, deer get hit on my road a lot, and unfortunately my goat did pass away, and I was able to keep his jaw as like a keepsake. But you know, a lot of these bones have sad stories, but I feel like they have a new life in being repurposed and being used when else they would just kind of, you know, sit there on the side of the road or something like that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think about these curios. I'm curious what people will say about them. I don't know if you think they're cool, if you think they're not cool, if you think it's not cool that I own them. Let me know. Of course, you know, I've never gotten anything unethically. I've never killed an animal for any of this stuff. It's all been, you know, just circumstance that's happened. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the oddities tour. Of course, as always, if you liked the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe. I try to put out a new video every 2 weeks. Sometimes it doesn't come out every 2 weeks, but that's because I am very busy at work, and I'll get a couple days off and I'll just crash and burn and just want to lay in the bed all day because I'm so exhausted from working. Unfortunately, a lot of you guys I know can relate because that is the way of work in this day and age. But I try my best to get videos out every 2 weeks. So as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, whenever you're watching this, because it's on the internet, so it is forever. And I will see you guys later. So bye guys.